Hey y'all, Bob with Million Mile Garage. This is a review or first impression of the Hot Wheels Redline Club 55 Mercedes-Benz 300 SL. And I've already taken it out of the outer box. And this is what it looks like when you pull it out of the box. And then you remove this clever little cover. And that exposes the model. And it does say real riders on there. I believe that means the premium wheels and tires. It's got rubber wheels and or it's got rubber tires and chrome rims. You see right there it says Redline Club. Let me just pan in on that a little bit so it's easier to see. And you can see it's got some blow molded plastic door holder, so it holds the doors open. And I have to say, under the cover, which is how you would normally probably display it, right? It looks absolutely fantastic. I do have a little help from overhead light. My natural light behind me is not great this morning. It's overcast outside. Unfortunately, it's been like this for several days, but we are getting close to winter here up in northern Alabama, so that's what we got to deal with. But anyway, it was kind of difficult to get the lid off, but I'm going to go ahead and remove it and kind of better expose the model. And you see it's just got this nice piece of blow molded plastic that fits around the gull wing doors. We'll set that out of the way as well. And just kind of, at first glance it looks absolutely fantastic. And I think the way it's meant to be displayed, the finish looks great. But I'll be honest with you, maybe I set the bar a little high. I was a little disappointed because I don't think the finish on this one looks like the pictures on the website. There's an awful lot of flaws in the paint. You see all those little bumps and dots, and you can actually kind of see almost looks like sandpaper marks on the hood. And the doors is the same deal. The trunk lid is the worst. There's just a lot of very noticeable imperfections, and on the quarter panel there is what looks like a piece of hair actually in the paint. I don't know how well that shows up right there. You can see on the quarter panel just above the wheel. I'll pan in just a little more. You can see it right there. There's some actual hair stuck in the paint right there, and you see it's partially coming out. I would say not done in the most sterile conditions, not what I expected. The hood looks really lumpy. Just kind of disappointed in that. Just kind of, again, this lighting is not very forgivable even on a real car. So this actually is like the worst possible lighting to view this. But just, showing this, because when you pan out a little bit, it doesn't pop like I thought it would, like that real glossy Spectraflame. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Maybe that's just kind of normal. That's just how they are. This is the second Redline Club model I've got. The first one was the RLC 2023 Mustang, which I haven't taken out of the package yet, but it looks absolutely gorgeous. And just comparing this, again, and I can put this under more of a magnification to kind of give you an idea of what it looks like. I don't know how well it will show up in this, but you can just see there's an awful lot. Let me see if I can get it over this part here, and it kind of give you an idea of. But I guess you kind of get the picture. It's kind of hard to do this through the camera lens. But you can see there's a lot of trash and flaws in the finish that I wasn't expecting. I just kind of figured they would spend a little extra time in the tumbler, or however they prep, zinc bodies before they paint them. Knowing that Spectraflame is a very thin, used to be lacquer. I don't know what it is now. Maybe it's still a lacquer. I don't know. I'm afraid to touch it or rub on it because the paint's so thin. Some of that cloudiness I was hoping maybe would just kind of wipe off. Maybe it's because it's fingerprints from the person that assembled it. And as you know, fingerprints will go right through Spectraflame and attack the zinc and blister the paint. So I'm kind of not really sure what to do with it. I really don't want to make it any worse than it already is. But just kind of showing you, none of the Spectraflame, I guess, is perfect. Here's one I bought probably 10 or 15 years ago. I think this was it was either a Toys R Us or a Walmart store. It's got the Hot Wheels cast in the window, and it is a real metal base. Made in Thailand. That kind of gives you an idea how long ago it was. No date code or even a date Not even a copyright date on this one. Kind of weird. And it does have the name on it, so anyone playing with GTX, that's pretty cool. And I love Spectraflame. But again, this one, under that light, you can see all the flaws in the paint. I can bring it under here and magnify it maybe a little more. Let's bring it over here just a little bit. You can kind of get the idea. We can just set that directly on the lens. Maybe that works better. And you can see, you know, there's quite a bit of flaws in this one as well, but they're not, I'd say, not as magnified as that RLC Club one. And, you know, in this one, if you look at it the way it's intended to be looked at, you know, it looks fantastic. This is one of the ones I think I posted on the forum. You know, in the natural, you know, morning lighting, it looks absolutely fantastic. It glows. In fact, let me add some light here. I just added a little camera light, and it pops. It looks pretty cool. It's decent. You know, but again, I think when I bought this, I think this was a $3 car. I think it did cost more than the regulars, right? Even back then, right? Because it was a metal base and all. But, you know, $3, you know, again, we're not comparing, right, constant dollars, right, you know, the way the economy's been going, but this is $30. I was just, maybe had the bar set a little high, you know, thinking of what I paid for it. I was expecting something that was going to look like a polished jewel, and it really doesn't. It's not a polished jewel. It's a piece of die-cast zinc that's got some clear paint over it. In my opinion, it was could have been prepped a little better, but I'll say, you know, looking at it from that far away, kind of the way it's intended to be looked at, I think it looks just fine. Would I be pumped up about buying a second one of these at that price? I'm going to say no. But they do pay a little attention to detail on this and still kind of keep it Hot Wheelsy, which I dig. And you can see the interior. It does have, it does not have a blob for a steering wheel, and they did kind of mist some silver paint on the instrument cluster to kind of give it a little bit of detail, which I think is pretty cool. It's pretty decent. But I tell you where it really shines, no pun intended, is all the detail work. I think the tampo printing, and I think some of this may actually just be spray painted on, however they do it. You know, the detail around the windows, the emblems, they're perfectly centered and they're very crisp and clear. The license plate is crisp and clear. It's beautiful. Again, you know, you see in this lighting how cloudy this particular Spectraflame Gullwing is. Just kind of disappointing. But overall, on a scale of 1 to 10, considering what I paid for it, I still would probably give this probably a 7 on the scale of coolness. I don't know if I would give it an 8, but it's pretty cool. I mean, there's an awful lot of stuff out there for way less money that are probably more accurate replicas than this. They're just not Hot Wheels, right? But it's pretty cool. It's decent. I'm happy to have it in my collection. I'd be a lot happier if it really popped like the jewel, like in the pictures they showed. But it's you know, it's okay. I'm a pretty discerning collector when it comes to fit and finish on anything, whether it's a wristwatch, a real car, you know, flatware, you know, you name it, whatever it is. I've always been a stickler for the fit and finish part of it. So maybe I'm being just maybe a little too critical. Hey, so I tried taking it outside to shoot some pictures in the natural light, and wouldn't you know it, under magnification, I can tell that these, it looks like a lot of the specks in the paint are actually specks on the paint. And you can see this last shot here, the trunk lid. It looks like to me there's just a greasy film on there that's just kind of smeared all over. So maybe that is actually just all on the surface. Maybe it's just somebody's greasy handprints and they just kind of wiped it down at the factory. Kind of hard to believe, but let's see what happens. Yeah, just looking at this again, kind of trying to show it in the right light. It looks like to me it's cloudy on the surface. So I think this vehicle was wiped down, and I think it left some residue, like right on the nose of the hood. You see where I pivot this back and forth, you can see lines kind of going diagonally. I'm not sure that's in the paint. I think that's actually kind of like, you know, when you wipe something down and it leaves a streak. I'm probably going to get something very soft, and maybe just try using the mildest first, like a little bit of moisture, a little bit of water maybe, And I'm going to try to just wipe this body down, just the least abrasive, intrusive, and see if I can get that cloudiness off the surface and get this to pop. See, because I think the shinier it is, the harder it is to see the little imperfections. And I think that's part of the problem with this, is I think it was touched with human hands, and they didn't do a very good job, wiping the fingerprints and stuff off. I think there's still kind of like fingerprint residue smeared all over it. Boy, for what they're charging for this, you'd think they would have held this, assembled these these things in a semi-sterile environment. Maybe not like Bowling Green, Kentucky, right, where they assemble Corvettes. Where I hear even at that plant, if you are in the painting facility where they paint those vehicles, you're not even allowed to wear cologne because they're afraid the fumes from the cologne will contaminate the surface and cause paint adhesion problems and clouding. So pretty sure that didn't take place in this factory. What do you think? All right. Okay, so I've been wiping this down just with a Kleenex basically, and I also dampened it a little bit, and a whole lot of what looked like stuff that was in the paint was actually just on it. I'm really happy about that. So it looks like this is going to come around, and that's going to look way better than it did before. I can't believe somebody had their greasy fingerprints all over it. That's pretty gross. Not much I can do about the hair that's sunk into the paint, but maybe I can wipe that off. Maybe it's not as bad as I think. So let me see. Actually, let me see if that will actually just wipe off with a damp tissue. That spot right there. That may or may not come off. It probably won't, but I'll give it a shot. See if that'll come off. Oh boy, isn't that some shit. I thought that was actually in the paint. So there was actually like that was a pretty greasy film that was on that paint for that to do that. That's pretty gross. All right, I'm going to take my time and clean this one up. I think this is going to be a lot better than I thought it was. I was kind of pissed about that. I still think that thing should have been cleaned underneath the cover. Not very sterile. That looks way better. I'm real happy with that now. This is going to look really good in pictures later. Okay, that's more like it. Let me just roll it around now. So all that crap I thought was in the paint was actually kind of a greasy film with lint and crap stuck in it. That looks a lot better. Just pan in a little bit there. There is a spot on the trunk lid, and I'm not sure if that's where that piece of vacuum formed plastic rested on the trunk lid. The part that holds the doors up. You see that line in the trunk lid right there? I can't get that to come off, and that's kind of like a scrape mark. Like sometimes they get that on the roof when they rub on the plastic in the package. I'm tempted to take some very mild car wax, like non-abrasive, and go in with a tissue and just polish that one spot. But knowing this paint is pretty thin, I'm really afraid to do that. But I got to tell you, under this magnification and this light, it's noticeable. But I can tell you, when you're just sitting at it, from a foot away like you would normally look at it, it's really not noticeable. And I guarantee you, when the cover's over it, you're not going to be able to see it. It's not going to be noticeable at all. But it looks so much better under the cover now. Really happy with that. Now it looks like it's supposed to look. That's that look I was looking for. That that mirrored. Looks like it was cast in that color look. Boy, that stressed me out for no reason. I don't know why they can't have these things cleaned in the package. That's kind of rude. But the car is gorgeous. I don't want to take anything away from it. Now this car is absolutely freaking gorgeous. Oh my god. Now I'm so glad I got it. But a couple spots now I can see, when I look at it, you can't see, any lines in the paint or anything, where it looks like, it's so shiny now you can't even get a good view of it. So all that film that was on there, it's gone, and all that, stuff that was stuck in the film, it looked like trash literally in the clear coat. Now you can see just above the Mercedes emblem. It's hard to do it in this light, but there's a flaw in the body, right? Because this is that, basically clear paint. It's tinted red. So every flaw in the body shows up. So there's a big scratch in the metal right there that shows up. But what I thought was lint in the paint right there, a piece of hair, is gone. That wiped off. I'm so happy about that. So this looks really good now. This looks like pretty much what I expected. So I'm going to change my rating from a 7. I'm going to say this is like a 9.9 on the coolness scale. This is definitely one of the coolest Hot Wheels I have. Very cool. Super awesome job. Super awesome job, Hot Wheels. But the folks putting these things together, they certainly could be a little more sterile about it, that's for sure. But the paint job is actually pretty awesome. It's pretty flawless. Pretty cool. I'm going to use, this is from my watch repair arsenal. This is a blower. It's for blowing dust and grit off of watch parts and watch faces when you have them apart. So I've got some little pieces of, Kleenex lint that are left on there, which the reason I use the Kleenex is it's not very abrasive. And I've just got, like on that door right there, I'm going to blast that lint off. See that? See how nice that works? And anywhere I've got, lint in here, I'm going to try to just puff it off. Yeah, I'm trying to get a nice shot here in the natural light. Got her all dusted off. See, that looks pretty decent now. Oh yeah, that looks good. Beautiful. Make sure I'm not in the shadow of it. There we go. Yeah, you still see that ghost on the trunk lid. I'm dying to take a little polish to that. Don't know what that line's from. I don't think it was from the plastic laying on it. I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe when they were tampoing it, maybe they laid it on something. Not sure what happened there. Yeah, when it's real shiny, it's really hard to see that flaw in the metal on the trunk lid. It's so glossy. It looks really nice. That's how it's supposed to look. Pretty decent. Yeah, very decent. Cool. Okay, let's pretend the first part of the video never happened. Hey, I'm doing a review of this 55 Mercedes-Benz 300 SL. This is a Hot Wheels Redline Club members only car, which means you have to be a club member. I paid my $10 annual dues. I also bought the club only one each per member car, which was the Ford Mustang, which I haven't opened yet, which looks super awesome too, by the way. But anyway, let me pull this off. This is the inner box. It's inside the main box. And of course, I've already loosened up the polycrystalline lid. Just got 2 tabs that hold it on. And let's look at this beautiful RLC, I think it's called Oxblood Red. It's a Spectraflame color. It's absolutely gorgeous. And look how nice that looks. Wow, that thing really pops. It's like a Christmas ornament. Gosh, that's beautiful. It literally looks like a polished jewel. Looks like it was basically chiseled from a piece of rock, doesn't it? It's so shiny. Gosh, it's beautiful. What a nice replica. Absolutely gorgeous. Hey y'all, thanks for watching. Hit like and subscribe. Leave a comment. What do you think of this vehicle? Do you think it should have looked like that fresh out of the box? I don't think it should have, but it was really just a matter of just a little bit of cleanup. Super nice replica. Is it worth $40? I don't know, you tell me. Talk to y'all later.